Yeah, so I'm preparing for my national chess championship, which takes place from the first week in November, the first Saturday in November, actually, which is Saturday the 2nd. So, in preparation for that, we're going to do some Caro game analysis just to get my ideas fresh. I haven't been playing enough tournament chess these days. So, with game analysis, it could always get you into the frame of tournament play. All right. So let's get into it. Our first game is Leonid Uderson, 2605 player versus Yasser Sarwan. Any Karakan lover should know Grandmaster Yasser Sarwan. I haven't heard him in a while, but I hope that all is well with him. So let's start. For the Karakan lovers, and as if you did not know, I've been playing Karakan for 20 years, so I would hope that the ways in which I explain the opening and the ideas really gets you involved, gets you motivated, and makes Karakan easy and fun for you to want to play. All right, so we go e4, c6, d4, d5, e5 comes. This is the advanced variation. Bishop f5 is the response. Another response we might have seen at some point in time is c5. It's up to you which one you feel more comfortable with. Okay. Then comes knight c3. I've seen this quite a bit. It can tend to be a little annoying. Actually, I don't know all of the ideas connected to it too well, but generally, I want to play e6 as soon as possible and see how quickly I could counterattack the center, seeing that the c2 pawn is not there to support the center. All right, that's my safe idea. We know in Caro-Kann, when you can play e6 and it's safe, you probably should. All right, especially in the advanced variation. So we go e6 to g4, bishop goes to g6. This is just normal theory. Knight e2. The idea of knight e2 is, listen, they want to cement the knight on f4 and play h4. And you will end up in a compromise situation whereby if you play h6 or h5, the knight could take your bishop. And then you have to wonder how strong your light squares are, especially when a bishop drops on d3 targeting the g6 pawn. Yes, you may get a knight here, but then you have to worry about bishop g5 according to where your pawn may be. Lots of arrows, but all in all, it should give some clarity into this position. So black decided, listen, black could play h5 from what I recall in the theory. After knight f4, he would play bishop h7 and sacrifice the pawn. All right. But in this variation, black decided to play c5. So he's going to attack the center, counter-attack the center immediately. All right. And Grandmaster Leonid says, listen, I'll play h4, and you all should see the threat. It's one of h5. And if bishop e4, the bishop is not safe because of f3. So h4 is a threat that you must respond to. And black decides, listen, I'm going to play h6, make room for my bishop. I have played h6, I've played h5. All right. Then comes h5, because black did not play. Bishop h7, bishop e3, knight c6, continuous development. He doesn't mind losing the c5 pawn because he gains the e5 pawn. And you should not be too worried if you're trading a flank pawn for a center pawn. All right. So he goes for the flank pawn, and black takes the center pawn. And in these kind of positions, we tend to see f4 later on. Of course, f4 here would not make much sense, right? Because you'll be losing your g4 pawn, your dark square bishop is under attack. The position falls apart quickly. So white says, listen, I'll play knight d4. My queen is protecting g4. You're not allowed to take g4. I'm also eyeing your e8 to a4 diagonal. Let me see how you respond. And black says, okay, fine. You go ahead and eye that diagonal. I'm just developing another piece. So it means that after bishop b5, black has no intention really of playing knight c6 for obvious reasons. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes check, and it's a double attack against the king and the rook. So instead, he says, if bishop b5 is played, he plans to retreat this knight to d7. Obviously not the f6 knight because of moves like f4. And then there's so much pressure on the knight. So check. Oh my goodness. I was wrong. I'm not going to edit it. I'll leave it as it is. He says, listen, I'm going to retreat the F knight. He has no problem with the move F4, all right? And F4 is exactly what is played, and black responds A6 with the idea of, okay, if you take my knight, I will take your bishop and I'm going to capture another pawn in the center, all right? And your king is very exposed on the dark squares. So this is a way in which grandmasters play, whereby they're always looking for those initiative-based moves. They're not going to play just common, natural-looking moves, right? They're going to spice it up. And when you spice it up is when you get dynamic positions and you have better chances of wins, all right, in comparison to draws. So he captured, knight takes, and he did not go for the e5 pawn. Instead, he said, thank you very much, sir, give me the c5 pawn. Your e5 pawn will remain weak and attack it. All right, the queen decided to develop, and he's eyeing the d6 square to eventually have some attack on the knight without it being protected by the bishop. So the knight moved immediately in preparation for any ideas of knight d6. So this is a very prophylactic move. Queen b6, queen takes, bishop takes, and king d7, because why would you leave the king there, right? Knight c7 is the threat. So king d7, castles. He says, listen, I'm going to play f6. He doesn't mind knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes, and probably just bishop e7, attacking the rook. And the white square bishop is still very much dominating. So white instead decides to retreat his bishop. And here we see the same bishop e7, rook ae1. This pawn, keep an eye on this pawn, because this knight is what is protecting it. Rook f8, knight takes, bishop takes, and so like I told you, the knight was protecting the a2 pawn, so now he had to play a3, and it seems he doesn't mind parting ways with the c2 pawn, and black goes exactly for that pawn. We get this variation, and black is just up a solid pawn, right? And now he applies pressure with rook c4, and could you believe that white already resigned? Why? Because we can see that g4 is going to fall, and then those bishop pair is just going to be a menacing thing against white. So that was the first game. It did not take too long. I hope you enjoyed it. If you really liked it and want more, you enjoyed my explanation, put something in the comment section and let me know, that you really enjoy this, so I would make more like these. All right, if you have a Caro game in mind you'd like me to analyze, let me know. If you have a Caro game you would like to submit and maybe see it on the channel, you can let me know too. All right, so remember to like, subscribe, and share on all platforms. I appreciate your support greatly. I'm really looking forward to this. All right, see you again.